What's going on, everybody? It's Chip Walton. Welcome to Chop and Brew. I'm in the garage with
Paul Fowler,
a.k.a.
Snack Stick,
and maybe now a.k.a.
Beef Jerky.
Beef Jerky. Paul's Snack Stick episode is one of the most popular episodes of Chop and Brew, and the recipe is by far the most viewed page on the website, which is funny for a show about beer and home brewing. So we're like, dude, we got to do another meat project video with Paul. So today we're doing beef jerky. How did you come to want to make your own beef jerky?
When I first got a smoker, I had no idea that you could make snack sticks and beef jerky and brisket and all this stuff in there. I just kind of stumbled upon that after I purchased one and started reading about it, and then I was like, hey, you can make snack sticks, you can make beef jerky, you can make homemade sausage, all kinds of stuff. So I looked into it and tried a few different recipes and different methods, and I wound up with the one I'm using now. Seems to be very popular.
So ride along with us as we join Snack Stick in making a batch of beef jerky. Nom 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 nom. This Chop episode of Chop and Brew is made possible with love from our Patreon supporters. Support the show and get cool rewards like early access to videos and the Krewe of Chop and Brew Facebook fan page, where show hosts and other fan supporters share videos, photos, recipes, helpful tips, and other general good vibes. Get on board at patreon.com/chopandbrew. So beef jerky, take us through the steps. We've got some video. So we're going to show, you've done a video before for your YouTube channel, and then we had your daughter shoot us some video to supplement for this. So yeah, walk us through the process and tell us kind of what we're seeing in the video.
You can use a couple different cuts of meat for beef jerky. You can use top round, bottom round, eye of round. I've used bottom round and top round the most. I prefer the top round, and the cut of meat I use is the one they sell as a London broil. So it's about the perfect thickness. It's about yay big. So all I do is I buy a bunch of that and I'll freeze it. So I'll vacuum pack and freeze it. And then whenever I'm ready to make it, I will take it out of the freezer and put it in the fridge and let it thaw overnight in the freezer. So then when I unpackage it the next day, it's not completely thawed. It's pliable. I mean, it's not completely frozen, but if you pushed on it, you could see an indent with your finger. At that point, I will run them on the meat slicer that I have and slice it. And if you don't have one, that's fine. You could do it by hand. But I'll slice them 1/4 inch thick, and then I'll put them all out on my table that's covered in butcher wrap. I'll lay them out on that, and I use the High Mountain jerky seasoning. It's a dry seasoning. So you're going to mix together a cure and a seasoning together, and I'll sprinkle half of that on one side, flip all the pieces over, put the remaining seasoning cure on the other side, and then I like it peppery. I mean, they already sell stuff that has pepper in it, but I like to dose it myself. Okay. So then I'll take some fresh cracked pepper and put that on top, on both sides. And then you kind of just mop it all up, because the seasoning doesn't really hit all the pieces. You're going to get a bunch that's in between the pieces on the paper. Okay. So then you just grab the meat and kind of like a mop. I got you. Just mop up all the seasoning, and then you're nice and neat and put in some Ziploc bags and you put it in the fridge. And here they are, all packaged up in the fridge. Gonna sit in here and cure for at least 24 hours. That's the minimum. If you go more, it's not going to hurt anything. Okay, so this is a 2-day process, minus maybe buying the meat ahead of time and getting it frozen. Yep, this is 2 days. Okay. So then once it's cured, the next day I would take it out and put it on some smoker trays. And I use these, you'll see in the video, there's some frog mats that I put in the tray. They're just a little mesh tray insert that you can put in there, and nothing sticks to them, and they're really tight woven. So if you want to do like nuts or something like that, it's not going to fall through the grates. And if your Teflon coating wears off on your trays, it's not going to affect it using those little frog mats. All right, here they are. They're all loaded up on the trays. It's a nice little staging tray. I didn't make it, but it is homemade. So you could easily make this, I suppose, if you had a welder. So I put them on those, and I'll stage it up all in this little rack I got, and then when I'm ready to put it in the smoker, we'll put them in the smoker. I'll set my smoker for about 180 degrees and turn on my smoke. I'll smoke it for about 2 hours. And then at the end of 2 hours, I'm going to start pulling pieces out, start checking tray by tray. So you're going to pull them out, check for ones that are done, pull those out, flip the tray around, next one, check, flip, and you're rotating. So after the initial smoke rolling of 2 hours, after that it's about every 25-30 minutes you're going to be checking it.
What does done look like or feel like?
Done, you can't do with a, well, it looks like this.
Hey!
You can't use a temp probe on it. So I'm going for
'Cause
color.
it's too thin, right?
Right, you're going for color. You're going for a certain amount of give. So when I'm taking them out of the trays, I'm squeezing them, and they're hot. And another telltale is there's a little bit of sweat that'll start to form from the fat that's in there.
Okay.
I mean, they're pretty lean, but there is a little bit of fat in there. And the meat will start to sweat. You get a good amount of color, and it should be almost no give. It's really however tough you want it, you know. I like them a little more on the tender side.
And we should note that, like, this is not like beef jerky you buy in a package. Like this,
Right.
I mean, in theory it kind of is, but it's not nearly as dry. Like this comes out still way more like sliced meat, like a meat stick, but flat. You know, it's not dehydratedly dry.
Right, you're not gonna take a piece and your jaw's gonna hurt by the end of it.
Right.
Right there. So I mean, you can eat a lot of it. It goes down really easy.
And we're about to. So you're pulling stuff off maybe in batches because some's done, some's not.
Yep.
Just like on a grill, you might be moving things around.
Yep. So as they come out, I will put them on a cookie sheet with paper towels, lay the pieces that I have at that time on there, and just dab the grease off them. And I'll put them in a Ziploc bag, fold it up, put it on the counter, and just let them sit there. So they're kind of warm, so they kind of sweat in there.
Yeah.
They get some condensation. And by the end of it, this whole process, one batch is going to take me like 6 to 8 hours of checking in, pulling and pulling. So by the end of it, you'll have a big full bag, and then you can either put it away or you could throw it in the fridge and eat it. But I'll put it away in vacuum packages and freeze them. And personally, I think they're better after they've been frozen for some reason. I don't know why, but that's what I do. And I've had them routinely over a year old and perfect, no problems.
Do you think freezing it is essential, or could you buy it and just do this the same day? Or do you freeze it because of the way your weekends kind of stack?
I freeze it because then I can make it at my leisure, and then also it makes it easier to get a nice even cut versus you run your knife down and it's all over the place.
Right.
It's just easier to work with.
People might know from the snack stick video that you have a Bradley, which is electric, and pucks. Any word to the wise for people using a real smoker, charcoal and wood smoker? Is it still just about that temperature and that time?
Yeah. I think the Bradley really excels at low temp stuff, where the gas and charcoal ones, it's hard to get down there. You could probably do it in a pellet grill more easily, controllably, but it'd be kind of difficult in a charcoal one. It's all about knowing your cabinet, where the hot spots are. I mean, my hot spots are on the sides.
Okay.
So that's why I put these in here like this. So in my tray, they're this way. So then the hot spots are on these sides, so I can take these off first. If I have them this way, that's going to get done, and this is not going to get done. So you got to know your cabinet.
If you missed that, he's saying like he puts them in kind of like door to wall, right?
Yeah.
I mean door to back.
Yep.
Front and center. That way you can kind of move them around like you would bacon as it's getting done.
Sure.
Or not done enough.
Yeah.
But if you got like a barrel smoker like I do, what are you saying? Like it may be actually difficult, or it's going to happen a lot quicker because it's really hard to hit like 180 on one of those.
If you can control your temp really good and you know where your hot spots are, it's possible you could do it. I don't have any personal experience with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only ever made that in the Bradley, so I don't have any experience in gas or charcoal with that kind of stuff.
Let's cheers to that, man.
Yeah, I get to.
And then what do you taste? Like, we got to do a tasting notes.
Right.
What am I thinking about?
I get a lot of pepper. Because I want fresh cracked pepper. So I want that to be a pronounced flavor. That's why I do that. And you get smoke and a little salt, but it's not super salty. I would say pepper's up front, and then the smoke's just slightly behind, then salt's in the back.
Huh. And I don't know what else is in that rub. I almost get kind of like a soyish teriyaki, but like really low.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's in there. That could just be a byproduct of kind of like you said, the sweat coming out, holding a bunch of smoke. Now you can have like this umami that's happening on top of the meat.
Yeah.
But no, again, it's not like some beef jerky that you buy and you have to you can just soak it and spit for like 5 minutes in order to eat it.
I mean, it just...
And I like that. That's really cool. It's very reminiscent of a snack stick, but like flat. But the snack sticks can be kind of like inside the casing, they get real loose, whereas this is like nice and tight. You can pull it apart without having to like rip it apart. So we'll put snack sticks beef jerky recipe. Granted, it's Bradley specific. It's upright electric smoker specific. So
I mean,
I think your mileage may vary, but you probably can figure it out.
Right. Just know your box. I mean, you can do it.
Again, thanks for making Paul's snack stick recipe the #1 recipe on the Chop and Brew page. Maybe we can do the same for the beef jerky. If you know people that are into this kind of thing, definitely share it. I think the success of the snack stick episode and recipe is like not our fans, but like how far out into the like webosphere it went. We get hits from all these forums and all these like smoked meat groups, and so yeah, do that again with this. Chop for chop, Paul.
Brew for brew.
Boom. Now we have a bunch of beers to go drink with Don O inside the house.
Oh yeah.
The real Jerky Boys for 2019. Yo. Yo, Jerky. Now I touched them all, so I have to eat them.
Yeah, you eat them.
Do you remember the Jerky Boys?
No.
Oh, it was like a prank phone call thing in the 90s. The Jerky Boys. And they had like cassette tapes, CDs. I think they maybe did a movie. But yeah, like crank calls and just like all these like funny voices and characters that they did. All right.